My name is Rich Hanlon, and I'm very excited to share with you my newly published book, Woodpecker Oneness Curriculum. This is a book that approaches an awareness of woodpeckers as expressions of the wonder and enchantment of our forests. I wrote this with young people around the ages of 7 to 12 in mind. However, tonight I want to share with you one topic covered in the book that I think people who are nature curious and have an appreciation for woodpeckers and their habitats of all ages will appreciate. Within these pages, there's a chapter on woodpecker sign, as well as the sign left by wood-dwelling insects. And there's two particular kinds of wood-dwelling insects that I have represented in these pieces of wood right here. And I want to share that with you tonight, just briefly. All right, so woodpeckers like the, let's see here, where are they? Let's open the book to the pages. Like the downy woodpecker, the hairy woodpecker, the black-backed woodpecker, and the American three-toed woodpecker have a special fondness for two particular kinds of beetles. Wood-boring beetles and bark beetles. And these two groups of beetles leave markings on the wood of trees, and it's different, it's distinct. And so let's take a look first at the piece of wood here. This is from a birch log that has some bark still on it here, right? And if I lift up the bark, you see all those trails. And there's none of these trails dig holes into the wood. That's because bark beetles like to eat the cambium layer of trees. And so they are under the bark, but on top of the wood, in a tree that is sick or dying or dead. And so as they eat the cambium layer of trees, that living layer under the bark, they leave these trails behind them, tunnels, just under the bark. And there's actually some almost like raised ridges here left in these tunnels, which the beetle has passed through. And you can scratch some of this off actually, and it's kind of like powdery in my fingers. You might not even be able to see that, but these raised ridges in the bark beetle tunnels is called frass, and frass essentially is beetle poop. And so you have these tunnel systems, burrows beneath the bark, but on top of the wood, and that is the sign of bark beetles. And it's good to know because hairy woodpeckers, downy woodpeckers, and especially American three-toed woodpeckers, woodpecker of the far north, has a very special fondness for bark beetles. Now, the other wood-boring beetle larvae, I say larvae because these are 100% the larval forms of these particular beetles. Wood-boring beetles, once they mature, they do leave the wood of trees and fly around through the forest. But in their larval form, they live in the wood of trees. And so take a look at this piece of a maple log, right? You see the hole here. There's a hole here, a hole here, little circular, little round holes, right? That where do they go? Where do they go? So I have a piece of a paper, a wire here, and we're going to take this wire and put it through one of these holes right here. Right? Let's see if it comes out. Oh, there it is, right? See that? So here is the exterior of the wood. The interior of the log was in here, right? So the wood-boring beetle larvae make these tunnel systems deep into the heartwood of the tree. And here's another one here. See, same thing. Burrows into the wood, and here again burrows into the wood, because while the bark beetles are eating the cambium layer, the wood-boring beetles will also eat the heartwood of the tree. And so here you see distinctly different signs of the presence of two kinds of beetles that woodpeckers love to eat. Bark beetles with their tunnels on the surface, under the bark, on top of the wood, and wood-boring beetles with these tunnels that dig into the heartwood of the tree. And so the book includes that, as well as many other explorations of woodpeckers and their habitats. When you're visiting a forest near you, I wonder if you'll be able to find the signs left behind by wood-boring beetles and bark beetles somewhere in your neighborhood this week. And when you find these marks left behind by these beetles in the trees, I also wonder if you will find some foraging marks of woodpeckers in that same vicinity. See? By noticing the beetles and the signs they leave behind, also looking for the signs of the activity of woodpeckers on the trees, we can start to make connections between woodpeckers and beetles and woodpeckers and trees and beetles and how we're all connected. And this is a book. Yes, oneness is in the title. This is oneness not in the sense of uniformity, but oneness in the sense of approaching the woodpecker's habitat, the ecosystem that it lives in, as one living being with many active parts that are very different, but a part of the oneness that is experienced every time we get to notice the relationships that connect all of the vital and flourishing members of nature's community. And hey, you and I are part of that community too. I also wanted to make sure I remind you that Woodpecker Oneness Curriculum is for sale. You can purchase a copy through thebookpatch.com, and I will leave a link to that website at the bottom of this video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.